Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the July 14th Board of Commissioners meeting, to our regular meeting. I want to remind everyone the board was in the back room discussing a legal matter. And we'll open the meeting with roll call.
Mr. D'Amelio is on vacation, will not be here this evening. Mrs. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Siegel?
Present.
Mr. Holmes?
Here.
Mr. McGarity?
Here.
Mr. Connell?
Here.
Mr. Wexler? Here. And I know Mr. Heilman is on his way, and Mr. Oliva.
Here. All right, our opening prayer will be by Reverend David Stipp Bethune from Lanark Presbyterian Church.
Let us pray. Great and mighty God, holy, generous, and merciful. For you, loving kindness is a rule, and we pray that it be also for us. We are grateful, O God, for your steadfastness, that even when we have fallen short, you have shored up our lack. We are especially thankful that you have given us this community and these commissioners who have seen to our needs and watched over our interests. We are gratified by the women and men who serve in our township from top to bottom, from those who collect our waste and fill the potholes, to those who crunch the numbers and fill out forms, sign documents, and arrange schedules. We appreciate living in such a place, knowing and seeing so many places where acts of violence and war do great harm, where division and unrest leave too many at risk. But, O God, loving kindness is a hard taskmaster. It requires openness and listening, a fair process, the ability to challenge and disagree and yet remain one community, in spite of differences of opinion or dreams about what should be. So we pray your blessing on this gathering and our lives in common, that what is said and shared in this meeting might reflect our commitment to do our best for one another, and that the way of community and common success might prevail over personal opinion and private desire. We bless you and we thank you for these representatives, for this meeting, for their good work on behalf of us all. And whatever our difference, let us work for peace and unity and just ends together. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's two. Ladies and gentlemen, call your attention to the podium, where Commissioner Connell will be giving some proclamations to Jeffrey Falls and Joseph Lords, Township employees for Public Works. Please. Go ahead. They're right there. You good?
Okay. Same together, right? Well, I'm glad I'm pinch hitting tonight for Jeff Heilman on this because of the fact that these are two employees of our Public Works yard who, through their alertness, ended up having our police apprehend two bank robbers over Manoa Shopping Center. So I would ask Jeffrey Falls and Joseph Lord, if you come up front, please. Congratulations.
Want me to read this?
That's good. Congratulations. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Gentlemen, the proclamation reads, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, wish to recognize that and thank you, the two township employees, in reporting the robbery, and that whereas two men robbed the Santander Bank located in the Manoa Shopping Center on Thursday, June 5th, 2014, at approximately 13:48 hours. Almost 2 o'clock. Two township employees quickly responded into action by flagging down Officer Moorview while on patrol, by providing a detailed description of the actors, And whereas Jeffrey Falls and Joseph Lord's quick actions resulted in officers and canines apprehending both of them. Now therefore be it proclaimed that said Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, congratulate and thank Jeffrey Falls and Joseph Lord, proclaim this 14th day, July AD 2014. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chief would like to have a few words. Chief of Police, for these young men.
Thank you. It's so important for the citizens to get involved when they see something. And you two men gave us the opportunity by your quick action to catch these bandits. So I want to thank you very much. Appreciate it. For helping involved. Yep, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah. Hey, all right. Listen, you can see these fellows not only do a great job in Public Works, but they also would do a great job outside of Public Works, attent, alert, and helpful to the community. So I just want to say, in all fairness, Joseph Lord, he lived across the street from me for quite a few years, so I'm sorry you moved away, Joe. I'd feel a lot safer if you were still there. Good luck and God bless you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now we'll have our Township Auditor update. Gary Schlotman, our auditor.
Good evening. I reviewed the disbursements for the period commencing June 10, 2014 and ending July 14, 2014. I raised certain questions. I asked for substantiation for a few items, and all the items were addressed to my satisfaction. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary? And now we'll begin the Citizens Forum. I asked before we start the Citizens Forum that everybody please stay to 3 minutes. We have a lot of people talking. As you can see, the room is very full. And please respect everybody and stay to 3 minutes, okay? So we'll start. Our first speaker will be Regina Pfeiffer.
Can I put this next to you since there's no room, because I'm going to pass it down anyway. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Regina Pfeiffer, 11 East Langhorne Avenue, Havertown. Good evening. I, along with my husband, own the property next door to the proposed Walgreens. I am here to ask you to appeal the Zoning Board's June 19th decision to grant 3 variances to Walgreens. Thank you for considering placing this issue on your agenda. I recognize that taking action like this is very unusual and not lightly taken. However, I and others feel that this zoning decision was wrongly decided and, if allowed to stand, would negatively affect the property owners along the alley, neighbors, and the township as a whole. One needn't be a civil engineer to see the interior traffic design of this site is dysfunctional, particularly the egress-ingress through the alley. The plan doesn't fit the space, and that alone should have caused the variances to be denied. This project will cause nightmarish external traffic and chaos down the alley. Additionally, Walgreens' estimates for parking needs, traffic, customer visits, etc. have been nothing but disingenuous. Their business plan is not just to sell stuff, but to have every store become a walk-in center for blood work, and I'm passing that along. A variance should be difficult to obtain. It is based on hardship. There is no hardship here. It is new construction and should be held to the highest standards. This site can be developed into a perfectly fine tax-paying commercial building compliant with the comprehensive plan and with no variances, particularly those for a drive-through, impervious surface, and parking. Here's what our code says, quote, that the variance, if authorized, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the property is located, or substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, nor be detrimental to the public welfare." End quote. What blows my mind is that despite the testimony of many, the zoning board chose to disregard the repeated assertions that our property values, development potential, quality of life, and deeded property rights to the alley were relevant and significant. The board should have denied the variances and had Walgreens appeal and prove their case, not us. Correctly or incorrectly, many residents in the township have thought that they have had their feet held to the fire when it comes to zoning. Imagine how we feel when a corporate giant simply shows up and says, "Here's what we want, and you should give it to us." And then they get it. We need you to have our backs. We need you to protect us from this decision and from the message it would send and the precedent it would set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Pfeiffer. Diane? I'm sorry? Mr. and Mrs. Heller. Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Heller, you want to come up? If you can just go back to back. Okay.
He knows who wears the pants in this family. Again, we're here to discuss, my name is Diane Heller, we live at 1604 Ridgeway Road. And again, we have quite a few of our neighbors and residents here with us. We're discussing the issues of the water problem, and we're asking as to why it is that we're not getting any answers and any help and any assistance with this. We don't understand why we aren't on the agenda this evening to discuss helping and funding this project to get it repaired once and for all. And we also, we understand that the money being borrowed to support the library and the police station and the new township building is understandable, but we don't want us to be ignored and disrespected and disregarded in that attempt. I feel that if I was under the impression that if we max out our borrowing capabilities at 30 million, that there are no monies available for us to have our situation repaired. And if there's a way that we can just repair and update the library as to where it stands and give us some floating room to be able to have monies available to repair our problem, then that's where we stand in support of that. And again, I'd like to remind you by passing along the photos that have occurred not just once, not just twice, not 3 times, but 4 to 5 times in front of our homes. And I'm sure if it was any one of the members here on the board, any one of the commissioners, that they would not allow their homes to be in a situation such as that.
Okay.
If I may chime in just a little bit here, and thank you, commissioners, for allowing us to speak this evening. Looking first of all at those photos, it's not just ourselves. I mean, it can be very simple to come up and voice your grievances or opinions about something. But in looking at this, maybe we can pass that photo around if not that you're interested, but this is on just more than our property. This is properties that are going back
8 to 10
a
to
few
12.
blocks on either side. And in these photographs, several homes, probably at least 15 houses altogether when these storms occur, are flooded up to, not to the basement, but if Jim or John Hanel will even tell you, in 62, this was still a problem. We had water going up into the living rooms of our houses. And frankly, I think it's a public hazard in general. I think it's the side effects and the ramifications of mold and other various unhealthy conditions that exist when this happens it's unacceptable. And we're just looking to see if we can get on the agenda someone to recognize, or our commissioners to recognize that there's something that needs to be dealt with here. We're not asking for an expensive solution, but we're asking for a reasonable one for ourselves and for everyone else. We don't know how dramatically the climate's been changing, and the weather conditions that we have now are not what they were long ago. It's just a different story. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. We're just looking to get some kind of a solution that reasonably done to mitigate this problem. It's raining outside now. I'm shaking because I don't know if I'm going to have a flooded basement again, and as well as some other members and other people that are here this evening. So, that's what we're looking for. If there's any possibility that can be at least looked into or can be brought onto the agenda so that it can be something that can be done.
We've moved into our home December of 1998, and this has happened 5 or 6 times since we've lived there. We were not under the impression of this when we purchased our home. We never would have bought our home if we knew that this is what we were up against. We've asked Mr. Gentili, we've asked Mr. McGarity, Mr. Pannoni has written a 7-page report regarding the 3 possibilities of how to try to repair this situation. We understand it will cost anywhere from $1 million to $3 million to repair it, and we just don't understand as to why it is that we're not getting any answers and not getting any help. We're asking for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You need these back? You need these back? I just,
right.
can I keep one copy?
Gary
Do you
Bogosian.
want them back?
Can I just say that the answers to these will come after everybody's done speaking?
Yeah.
We'll answer your questions.
I got it.
Okay. No, Mr. Howard
Yeah.
was looking up.
Yeah, just, we wait till the end of the citizens forum, then we answer all the questions, okay?
Hi, my name is Gary Bogosian, 2410 Linden Drive, and I'm speaking tonight about the proposed new building program. I support a modified option 3, and I call it 3B, which would include a new right-sized 20,000 square foot police building, a new generous 3,000 square foot conference and meeting room center, a renovated library building with a new Mill Road parking lane, a renovated administration building, including moving the rec department there, district court offices built in the vacated Glendale property, which would save us a lot of money a year in rent, and recycle centers at both Manoa and Glendale roads. I believe this option, 3B, could be built for about $17 to $18 million and would serve all of our current and future needs extremely well. The timelines for each component are separate and they would be shorter. Some commissioners believe this existing limited site is a panacea, a newfound bonanza of property that can solve all of our facility needs with completely brand new buildings. Well, it's not. In its present area and form, without land acquisitions or large reductions in the ball fields, it is entirely ill-suited for the megastructures and mega site development that's being proposed. Even if you did manage to acquire additional lands, the increase in traffic and congestion to that area would be unacceptable and unsafe. A PennDOT E intersection is actually an F for failure in our real world. Just look at Eagle and Darby Road, or Eagle at the YMCA, or Lawrence Road and Westchester Pike. Forcing all the new traffic onto Columbia and then turning onto Manoa Road is the most impractical flow we could imagine. As for the taxes, the cost ripple effects of the overall project and its operational expenses of the mega schemes would be untenable. It's naive to believe that it will only increase a household by $80 per year. Together with the historically normal 6% tax increase, producing another 6% from the 60% income that's generated by property assessments, and allowing for other needed capital projects that could mean up to a 15% yearly increase in taxes and fees. Finally, I disagree with Commissioner implications that those of us who believe in and support more pragmatic solutions are shortchanging our township and its employees. We're fighting to supply what is needed within realistic means, providing essentially all new facilities without unduly burdening the taxpayers. We see this as a responsible solution. I hope at least 5 of you agree with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Christopher Blackwell? Come on down. Yeah, sure.
Good evening, Mr. President, Commissioners, Mr. Gentili. I am Christine Farris, the Director of the Haverford Township Free Library, and with me this evening is Mr. Christopher Blackwell, President of the Library's Board of Trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight about the library. There are 3 questions we need to ask ourselves. Why is the library doing what it is doing each and every day in Haverford Township? That can be answered very simply: to provide lifelong learning opportunities for your constituents through education, information, and the social and entertainment aspects that are so important in life at every age. How is HTFL doing that? Through your library appropriation every year, you are providing library materials, technology, and programming for all age groups, as well as library services for the Haverford Township's homebound residents. We do that with professional and experienced library personnel who understand the needs of your community. We serve on local board of directors and are involved at county and state level. What do we do at the library? We enhance, enrich, and support the life of every Haverford Township resident by making available internet connectivity, e-readers, library materials in terms of books, audio and visual, programs that will delight, inform, and encourage exploration of culture, art, and new ideas, to serve as a meeting place and a place to ask for information that will help individuals find the educated answer. Add to that the outreach programs we provide to the school district community, the community Y, and daycare centers. Libraries have experienced a tremendous change in the last 30 years, and undoubtedly libraries will continue to change and evolve to meet the needs of the community. And our mission is to serve your ward residents with what they need and want in their library. According to an article published by the American Library Association Office for Information Technology entitled "Confronting the Future: Strategic Visions for the 21st Century Public Library," I quote from that article, "Libraries are a source of pride to communities, displayed through the quality of the building and its facilities." HTFL serves its purpose as a vital public library, community center, and a symbol of what Haverford Township offers to its residents. Commissioners, you are faced with making difficult decisions about township buildings, including the library, that will bring pride and honor, value and respect to the entire community. Please make a decision that thinks of the present and future of the library and in consideration of every resident. Thank you.
Blackwell?
Good evening, I'm Christopher Blackwell. I live at 28 Mill Road in Havertown in the 7th Ward, and I am honored also to be the president of the Board of Trustees of the library. You've heard very eloquently from Christine what the library does. I'm not here to repeat any of that. What I am here to do is to thank you on behalf of my board, thank you commissioners, for all of the listening that you've done on the issue at hand, which is what to do about the library. So I just want to thank you for all the testimony that you've heard. And I would also like to render some thanks to Larry Gentili and to Laurie. Larry, for the way that you have jumped on the serious issues that we've had with the building this past year, and how effectively you corrected the long-term flooding problem in the basement. We really appreciate that. And Laurie, the work that you put in, you and your staff, and Anoni put into the investigation that you did on all the options and presenting the options is truly amazing, and thank you. And lest I forget, I also would like to commend Doc and his staff for the maintenance work that they do at the library regularly, all the time. We really appreciate their help and their helpful attitude. So all I want to add to this,
and I'm not addressing this to the commissioners, I want to address it to the public. I think if I could repeat word for word the opening prayer.
I know.
We've heard a lot of testimony, some of it quite heated, and it's as if there is an us and them with regard to the library versus the community or those who love the ball fields. There is no us and them. We are a community, and the library is a symbol of the community. And I would just appeal to the public to look. Last time I looked, I didn't have two heads, and I don't see any. I've never dealt with anybody to do with a library that has two heads. And there are 25,000 library card holders in Haverford Township. That is half the township. That is a big constituency. All I would say is, by the way, I, for one, and many other library card holders, also appreciate the fabulous recreational facilities that exist in the township, and we use them. It's not as if library folks never use the ball fields or ball field folks never use the library. That is absolutely not the case. So all I'm saying is, let us be reasonable. Let us realize we are all a community. And let's work together for the good of the community. Thank you very much.
All right. Brendan Goggin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Board of Commissioners. My name is Brendan Goggin, and I am speaking tonight as partner of the Oakmont National Pub and as a resident of this neighborhood at 428 Hastings Avenue, and in that capacity only am I here before you this evening. As the board considers various plans and costs for either modifying, augmenting, or relocating the existing township building, my company and many of the local business owners, churches, and organizations in the Eagle and Darby Road section of our township would like to consider our petition. Speaking for myself, I have enjoyed a long-standing relationship with our township employees and all aspects of our proximity to the current township building. We have together forged a solid public-private partnership with our township. One great example of this is the revitalization of our outside public seating area in front of our property and working together to beautify our corner of Eagle and Darby Road. Another is the new Oakmont parking lot and the updated streetlights. Having been watching closely the discussions, deliberations, and now formal plans for the future of our township building, we are encouraged by the Board of Commissioners' consideration to build a new facility at their current location. Furthermore, we support any plan that would move any public meeting space currently used by the Quadrini building here, which I've been to many of them, to be incorporated with either a new township building, police station, and/or library, or anything where would benefit this business district. I have in my possession a formal petition signed by key businesses, churches, and organizations that form the existing surrounding area where our current township building has been located since its founding. It is our collective belief that any future use of the current municipal building should include additional public parking in order for our business district to grow and be attractive to potential businesses. While the existing municipal building is historic and the cell tower is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future, we believe there's a distinct opportunity to assist our district by growing the public parking footprint elsewhere within this current location. Otherwise, parking flows into the surrounding neighborhoods and limits the amount of usable space for the businesses to be able to maintain a balance between other businesses that are vying for the same space. Many of you on this board believe in the need for business district revitalization, which would increase the tax base by attracting the type of businesses needed throughout this township. We can't take the steps that would stymie the ability for our businesses to flourish and vacancies to grow should the board make any decision that would continue to limit parking needs of our district. Furthermore, should the Board of Commissioners vote to relocate the township building, we would ask that the commissioners remember to make sure they think through what is best for our district with what they leave behind. If you agree with our position, then we would urge you to consider a public-private partnership for the existing township building in which additional public parking is made available to the business district. In closing, I'm confident that most of you share our vision for the township, whereas many of our surrounding townships and municipalities have realized that it is through public-private partnerships that allow for revitalizations to happen in business districts. When creating walkable, beautiful business districts throughout our township, the net effect is an increase in surrounding property values and bigger tax base. I urge you to think of the township as a whole in this matter. If you represent a ward that has a large established business district or a ward which is limited to smaller districts, then both of you would benefit from your neighboring business district's opportunities for sound investment in the future for the good of the entire township. Thank you for your attention and listening to my comments.
All right. That concludes the registered speakers. Now we will go with the agenda items. Anybody in this first row here would like to speak on agenda items only? Anything on the agenda? Second row. Third row? Sorry, did you raise your hand? Would you like to speak?
We're talking about the agenda.
Anything on the agenda? Any items on the agenda? Yes, Walgreens
Yes, it
is on the agenda. Would you like to speak? Well, then you can come right up. Do we have copies of the agenda?
We had them out there, about 100 of them, now they left.
I'm sorry, we had 100
On
of
the
them and they're
agenda.
gone.
On the agenda is a discussion about curbs, approval of last month's minutes, approval of warrants totaling about $3.5 million for our general and sewer fund payroll and certain specific things. There is the potential zoning hearing board appeal of the Walgreens matter. There is a discussion of fire pits, various traffic ordinances, a second reading of changes to the pension and employment benefits. There's a number of people that don't have agendas, Mary. Let me just finish this real fast.
Okay.
Amendments to the pension plan for the police. There is more traffic ordinances, this time a first reading. There is a resolution to approve naming a certain investment advisor to handle Act 44 program benefits, a subdivision at 1710 Woodmere Road, a flood mitigation grant request, and agreements and contract awards with the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, Lancaster Avenue Streetscape, and a 2014 road program, and the purchase of several vehicles. And one item of new business involving Grassland Field.
Okay. 3 minutes.
I'm John Reef, and I live at 2501 Darby Road in Haverford Town. I'm about half of a block away from the proposed Walgreens location where they want to plant what I think is very, very inappropriate for a community such as ours, especially since I'm so proud of what we've done with other sites such as the Haverford Reserve area. And just, it's been a marvelous job that you've done there. And I think you should be complimented for that. And this township has changed so dramatically in a positive way. And my wife and I and our family have been here for 45 years. So we've seen an awful lot of change. And we are really in an interesting dynamic here where you have a responsibility to continue that because you've done such a phenomenally good job. And I think we all should recognize that because the commissioners are the people who've been in charge of making those good decisions that have been made. This isn't a good decision. This is a very bad decision. It's an awkward bypass there at Eagle Road and Darby Road. You can't really comprehend the traffic there unless you live near it. And I can see so much traffic there every morning that starts at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and then in the evening it starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it just never stops. You're not going to be able to get cars to move in and out of that traffic if there's a Walgreens there. It's an inappropriate use of the property that we have there. You have a lot of imagination here among the commissioners, this is not a good choice that you're making. It's not good for the community. It's not good for Haverford Town. It's not good for the tax base. I don't care what they tell you they're going to do for you, but it's not going to work out for the township. And it's really important that we think of the long-term relationship that this has to the people that we have in this community who have lived here so long, including our children who are coming along. It's a very inappropriate location to do this job. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to speak?
Yes, I would.
Yes, come on.
Thank you very much. I'm Cheryl Forsty Grupp. I live at 107 Landaff Road in the 2nd Ward. And thank you all for listening.
Last name again?
Forsty Grupp in the 2nd Ward. And I would like to echo what people have been saying about the Walgreens going into that location of Eagle and Darby Road, that would be problematic for the neighborhood and for the traffic in that area. I commute down Darby Road coming back from school after teaching during the school year about 3:30, and it is basically a parking lot from the intersection of Eagle and Darby Road all the way out to St. George. And if I don't time it right, I can't get through there for 15 minutes. And that's just on a regular school day, about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Never mind at 5 or 6. So putting in a Walgreens there could be a real problem in terms of traffic and the nature of that neighborhood in that area. So I would ask you to rethink that possibility. And in the broader scope, I thank you all for thinking about what the future of our township might be, because there are a lot of important decisions coming up, and you have been listening to all of us on such a regular basis. And I'm glad you had these open forums, so thank you for that. But I really hope you think about how everything comes together to create a Haverford Township where people want to live, and our tax base is constantly expanding because people want to live here and will pay higher property taxes and also a higher price for their homes, because this is the place to be, because our schools are safe. We have a great library, we have a great community, we have people who care about each other and listen to each other. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. Okay, come on up.
Bless you.
Bless you.
My name's Michael McGrath. I live at 2001 Laurel Road in Havertown, 3rd Ward. I live 50 feet away from Grassland Field, which is a new item on the agenda tonight. It's a proposal to rename Grassland Field. As my wife and I have lived at that address for the last dozen years, and my wife's mother had lived there. Between my wife and my wife's mother, basically lived there for the last 57 years. I generally want to tell you that I don't believe that the Grassland Field should be renamed. I believe, generally speaking, that it's not a good idea generally to name public facilities after individuals. I think only in extremely rare situations should such a process take place, and really I think the only appropriate situation for something like Grassland Field would be an individual that had a transcendent effect on the community, or at least the field or facility that's being named for that person. The individual that's being proposed to have Grassland Field renamed for is Joseph Cirillo, who was a commissioner here, was also actually more well-known as the Haverford Township Republican Party leader for many years. He is actually already commemorated at Grassland Field, and in fact the commissioners, sometime after his passing in 2000, dedicated a plaque with a flag holder
that is actually located right in front of the tennis courts. I don't believe any further recognition is necessary. I also believe that it would be a bad idea to rename Grassland Field. Grassland Field is very familiar to many people throughout the township as a particular location. The recreation department holds soccer clinics there. There are baseball leagues that play there. You ask them where they're going to Grassland Field. The final reason I think this is a poor idea is that as an adjacent homeowner, I didn't even find out about this until a couple days before it was proposed for a vote before the Parks Board. The Parks Board actually voted down this proposal, I believe, by either a 4-2 or 5-2 vote. To this day, nobody has individually asked me about what I thought about this renaming, even though, again, I'm 50 feet away. And I know other of my neighbors who also live very close to the field were not asked their opinions about it either. And I don't think this is a way that we should rename public facilities. Thank you.
Anyone else in that row? Come on up.
Thank you. My name is Gloria Reef. And my husband mentioned he and I have lived at 2501 Darby Road for about 45 years. And as others have said, this township has improved dramatically, especially over the last dozen years. We are surrounded by townships like Radnor, Tredyffrin, Lower Merion, who seem to get all the accolades in terms of the quality of life. We are also adjacent to Upper Darby. And I think making a decision like having Walgreens come in across from a long-standing, excuse me, highly successful small business, Katz Pharmacy, that has served the community for over 50 years, moves us more toward Upper Darby than these other townships, or and also away from the level of positive community that Haverford Township has become and continues to become. Walgreens is a very bad idea. It gets us to be Upper Darby rather than Haverford Township or the elevated community that we want it to be. Thank you.
Anyone else in that row? Next row? And the last row. Okay, we'll get to you in a minute. Over here on this side? Go ahead.
This is pertaining to agenda item number 14. Good evening, Township Commissioners, Manager Gentili, Chief Petton, thank you. My name is Siobhan Savitsky at 425 Heatherwood Road in Haverford Township. I thank you for taking the time to hear the 400 block of Heatherwood Road residents' concern and proposal to complete our solution in the prevention of future accidents in the intersection of Heatherwood Road and Manoa Road in Haverford Township. In my 3 years of residency of 400 block of Heatherwood Road in Haverford Township, I've personally witnessed several accidents at the intersection of Heatherwood Road and Manoa Road. I've also cringed at the close calls we've had. On April 14th, Sergeant Scott, Commissioner Connell, Commissioner McGarity, 400 block of Heatherwood Road residents, code enforcement, PennDOT, had a meeting to help the intersection become more visible and prevent accidents and vehicles into houses. Although these changes have seemed to help with the intersection, the narrowing of the intersection is causing concern. As I agree with Sergeant Scott that something else needs to be done to completely correct the 400 block of Heatherwood Road, I do not agree with taking away parking as the correct and final answer. I appreciate all his efforts in the matter, as well as Commissioner Connell's efforts. My reasoning behind the proposal is for multiple reasons. Number one, parked cars actually narrow the road, causing vehicles in motion to slow down. Number two, the vehicles on the road are only barrier between another vehicle into a home. Number three, there are already limited spaces for parking our vehicles on the 400 block of Heatherwood Road as we share driveways. With taking away all the safety concerns from the neighbors, Commissioner Connell, Sergeant Scott, and PennDOT, I conduct my own investigations, measurements, and proposal that I believe this will complete efforts of the safety and traffic concerns of 400 block of Heatherwood Road and Manoa Road. My proposal is as follows, is attached with the signed petition of Heatherwood Road to restrict the traffic to a single direction. I ask that it be reviewed and considered by Haverford Township's Traffic Review Committee and you, Township Commissioners. We request in this petition to restrict the two-way traffic to the 400 block of Heatherwood Road to a one-way traffic pattern. The allowable traffic flow will be in the northerly direction, traveling from Heatherwood Road and Wynn Avenue intersections towards East Manoa Road and egression on East Manoa Road. In short, in only exiting the 400 block of Heatherwood Road onto East Manoa Road and restrict with the do not enter sign except emergency vehicles from entering the 400 block of Heatherwood Road from East Manoa Road. Also restrict the one-way traffic sign facing north on the 400 block of Heatherwood Road. This would allow the traffic entering 400 block of Heatherwood Road from Wynn Avenue. All may exit the 400 block of Heatherwood Road onto East Manoa Road. I truly believe this will help the travel of the Heatherwood Road and Manoa intersection continue to convene street parking on 400 block of Heatherwood Road. Also, vehicles parked providing our only barrier in the motor vehicle accidents and in the houses. This will allow the address traffic concerns of the entering of the East Manoa Road onto the Heatherwood Road. Furthermore, complete all concerns of traffic flow and safety concerns of the intersection of East Manoa Road and 400 block of Heatherwood Road. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the residents of 400 block of Heatherwood Road. I hope together we can come to a complete resolutions of all concerns in the safety manner. We have all signed except for two of us on the 400 block of Heatherwood Road between Manoa and East Manoa. Or Wynn and East Manoa, excuse me.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm sorry. We're over here, right? Anybody in the next row? The third row, back here, sir. Oh, you're leaning forward. Yeah, there you go. Come on.